Well, hello everybody. Welcome back or to my channel. A video actually caught my attention earlier today, and it's called Mafia 4 is not Mafia the Old Country. And I was curious because I've heard people use these terms interchangeably, so it made me wonder, what does he mean? Original videos in the description as always. But most importantly, why isn't it Mafia 4? Let the good times roll.
Mafia 4 is not Mafia the Old Country. In a deleted TechCrunch article from December 2024 titled Mafia the Old Country is not Mafia 4, says the head of the Brino developers, general manager for 2K Czech.
Wait, so why was it deleted? Oh no.
Roman Addy was asked,
it's gonna
now
be nuts.
You return to the brand with Mafia the Old Country. With the budget the game is being made on, will it be the biggest Mafia yet? And Roman replied, it won't. I can't be more precise, but I can say that the most expensive project of the brand was Mafia 3. It had a longer gameplay, it was more ambitious, because with the new—
I'm kind of shocked by that. Did they mean the, original Mafia 3, or, the definitive edition? Or hell, maybe both combined?
Mafia, we're moving to the new Unreal Engine. And because of that, we're trying to keep the scope of the game smaller, because we're dealing with the pitfalls of the new technology.
Fair.
In a follow-up question, Roman Haddock was asked, aren't you a little worried about the fan reaction? I mean, the trend is to make things bigger. And Roman replied, it's important to say here that it's a prequel. It's not Mafia 4. It's Mafia the Old Country.
It's Mafia 0.
To explain to the players what it is. Of course, I know that there's a great hunger among the fans for 4, but for those reasons, we preferred to go for a smaller project.
Okay.
TechCrunch asked another question. If the Old Country is not Mafia 4, the question must necessarily come up, will there be a Mafia 4? And Roman Haddock replied, we would definitely like one. Let's see how the new Mafia is appreciated by players and what potential the publisher sees in it. These are—
Please, because listen, if it's not going to be big and ambitious and big and, all these crazy things, all the games have to be bigger and better, I don't necessarily agree with that. When it comes to Mafia, I'm here for a good story. I'm here for a good time. I'm here to live out my Mafia fantasy because I wasn't alive when the Mafia came out in real life. And the first Mafia, I'm pretty sure. I might have been alive, but I wasn't allowed to play it. So listen, am I upset that it's not bigger? No. Because guess what? The story's going to be great. It's a prequel. You get to learn more about, because here's the thing. I am currently playing the first Mafia game on my channel. If you'd like to check that out, be my guest. I've really adored the story, but to see what comes before that, I'm actually very intrigued. I hope that we can see the Mafia being banded together even. I would just love to see all that. Especially because I haven't played 2 or 3, so I don't know what goes on before Mafia 1 and after. I'm playing the definitive edition, by the way. So it looks just as good as the other ones, if not a little bit better. So I'm very excited to see a prequel. Even if it's not bigger per se, it could be more story rich and obviously visually because it's on a new engine.
There are key things that will ensure a 4th Mafia installment, if they work out. I have to say that the reactions to the definitive edition were already very positive.
It's beautiful.
It's just a remake in quotes, but it surprised everyone, including the publisher.
It's great.
The investment in the definitive edition has paid off in ways no one expected. So it seems the power of the Mafia brand is working. Let's hope it continues to work in the future. I don't know why this article—
If there's anything I can do about it, publishers, shareholders, whatever you gotta satisfy over there at the Mafia brand, if there's something I could do, I will do it. I swear to God, this better. Listen, this story in Mafia and how it's damn near a movie, it's up there with Rockstar quality. Now, is the gameplay great? Some of it's a little outdated. They can redeem themselves, and I'm telling you, this is equivalent to GTA 6 for me personally. Because the story is great. I go for GTA and I go for Red Dead for the stories, and Mafia's right up there with them. They're the big 3 for me when it comes to stories. I would be pretty ashamed and disappointed if we lost yet another competitor for Rockstar. Because listen, I played Saints Row. I stopped at the intro of 4 because it was awful, but Mafia, not awful. It's only comparable when it comes to the quality of the story, not the story itself. And I would just like to reiterate that, because the comparisons are ridiculous. However, when it comes to story richness, story implementation, and the ideas, they're up there.
was removed from the internet, but I guess 2K Games or Take-Two higher-ups didn't want to scare people away from not buying Mafia the Old Country because it's a smaller game than Mafia 3 and not as ambitious. Being a smaller game isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, just look at Mafia 1 and Mafia 2. I'd rather choose quality over quantity.
Exactly.
A lot of people on the internet are still referring to Mafia the Old Country as Mafia 4. It's true that Mafia the Old Country is technically the fourth entry to the Mafia franchise, right after Mafia 1, Mafia 2, and Mafia 3, but that doesn't mean it's Mafia 4.
No.
The easiest way to explain this is by looking at the Grand Theft Auto series. For example, GTA Vice City is the fourth main game in the Grand Theft Auto series, following GTA 3, and is the sixth entry overall. Yet no one refers to 2002 Vice City as GTA 4 or GTA 6.
Exactly.
A better example is Yakuza 0, which is the sixth main entry in the Yakuza series and a prequel to the original game. Mafia the Old Country is basically Mafia 0. Video games are not always, but usually, numbered when they signify a major leap in the series, such as introducing a completely new game engine, major gameplay innovations, and a
He's saying this much better than ever, and also this section pisses me off. I don't want to see this.
shift in narrative focus. If you really want to be technical, Mafia the Old Country is actually the seventh Mafia game of the 2K Mafia franchise. If you want to count all the different titles, even though Mafia 3 Definitive Edition is just Mafia 3 with all DLCs, and Mafia 2 Definitive Edition is just a poor remaster. But Mafia the Old Country is the fourth new Mafia game in the franchise. The main reason we're getting a prequel to the first Mafia game and not Mafia 4, a sequel to Mafia 3, is because of money.
Greetings and welcome to the Take-Two second quarter
I hate Take-Two so much.
earnings call.
GAAP net revenue increased 2% to $858 million, while cost of goods sold increased 6% to $457 million. Cost of goods sold included a $53 million impairment charge related to our decision not to proceed with further development of an unannounced title in our pipeline.
On November 3rd, 2021, Take-Two Interactive revealed in its earnings call with investors that it had canceled a $53 million unannounced project. This canceled project was a video game called Voltron, a co-op action game in the vein of Destiny 2 that was in development since 2017 by Hangar 13 Games.
Oh god.
Mafia 3 sold in or shipped into stores 4.5 million copies in its first week on the market, making it the fastest selling game for 2K Games in 2016. And in 2017, Take-Two Interactive and 2K Games were so happy with the financial success of Mafia 3 that they gave Hayden Blackman, the former president of Hangar 13 Games, the option to develop Mafia 4 set in 1970s Las Vegas, or start something completely unique, a new intellectual property.
Oh.
From 2017.
You know what? That's a major win for Mafia. It's a shame that Hangar 13 had to go down, but to impress Take-Two, that is no small feat, because they are almost never impressed with anything. So hey, you know what? That puts a smile on my face. Sorry to these guys though, like that sucks. I'm sure it would have been fine in a good game.
To 2022, Hangar 13 went on to develop the following games: Rhapsody, a spy game about subterfuge in 1980s Berlin, Germany.
Oh, my eyes
Voltron,
jam.
a class-based co-op action game in the vein of Destiny 2, and Mosaic, which was a loot-based ARPG.
Oh god.
All three of these IPs were ultimately canceled.
They don't sound good.
Currently, there's no gameplay footage available for either of these abandoned games.
What the hell?
However, an early game map
I thought that was the CN Tower. That fat suit is crazy.
Rhapsody was mistakenly left in Mafia 3's game files following a Steam update. The map can still be accessed by renaming certain files and using a no-clip mod.
Listen, the loot-based RPG, keep your loot stuff in the vault. The other two games, that is a shame. And the fact that they're getting canceled back-to-back is heart-wrenching.
Unfortunately, a Steam update has removed the map from the files, making it inaccessible for Mafia 3 PC users. On a side note, I still have the map file from the canceled game, and plan to create a detailed video in the near future showcasing the map and explaining the game's story in more detail. Subscribe to this channel for that video in the future.
God, that sucks for
In May
them.
2022, after the cancellation of Voltron, Hayden Blackman stepped down as president of Hangar 13 Games and was replaced by Nick Baines, who now serves as the president. The reason why the next Mafia game is a prequel set in 1900 Sicily is because of money. If Mafia 4 took place in 1970s Las Vegas, the music licenses alone would be expensive. The cost of licensing songs for Mafia 3 amounted to millions of dollars. And since Mafia the Old Country is a prequel set in 1900 Sicily, vehicles, licensed music, weapons, and
That's a
NPCs
lot.
translate to less work for developers. Mafia TOC is confirmed to have horses and cars as modes of transportation, but don't expect a lot of vehicle choices in 1900 Sicily. Vehicles will be rare, like Red Dead Redemption. And
Right.
since the car radio didn't go mainstream until the early 1930s, don't expect any licensed songs while driving a car. As for weapons,
Why would you?
there may be some variety, but don't expect a large selection of guns like Mafia 3. There may be a large selection of melee weapons though. And since Mafia the Old Country won't have a city like the previous games, and instead will have villages and towns, expect a low amount of NPCs in a bustling environment. Because Hangar 13 already
Makes
spent $52
sense. I
million
mean, even in the setting of the new game, which I'm not sure about, if it's confirmed to be a year or not, but that's actually very smart to save on money because the licensing of games already costs so much. And to have a game before the radio was out is genius. It saved Rockstar a lot of money with Red Dead 2. They fully made their music in-house, which also saved them so much money. So listen, if this is how we have to get a Mafia game to save on money and budget and sparingly use resources to make something great, so be it. And if this makes them have enough money and Take-Two believes in them enough to give them Mafia 4, even better. This is truly a stepping stone for Mafia, and I really hope it works out.
developing a game that was cancelled by Take-Two Interactive. They're a little tight on money.
Yeah.
Take-Two, the parent company, obviously has a lot of money due to the success of GTA Online. But they won't willy-nilly give 2K Games / Hangar 13 money if they're going to risk it on brand new IPs that will most likely flop at release.
Yeah.
Take-Two will give 2K Games and Hangar 13 a large budget depending on how well Mafia the Old Country sells.
Yeah.
Making the next Mafia game a prequel about the Cosa Nostra is not only a great idea, but also a great financial decision. In a world where the quality of entertainment is on the decline, gamers are starving for rich story-driven narratives more than before. This makes 2025 the perfect time to release a new Mafia game. I predict this game is going to sell like hotcakes and may perhaps even be the new fan favorite. The aura of this game is unmatched. I got goosebumps looking at the trailer. A game with no political agendas or subversions is rare to see in 2025. In the same month he became president, Nick Baines, in a virtual meeting with employees, stated that he aimed to greenlight a sequel to Nero, codenamed for Mafia the Old Country, while it's still in development. His goal is to avoid repeating the mistakes of the previous president, which led to employee layoffs after project completions.
Right.
This means development for Mafia 4, the sequel to Mafia 3, may or may have not already started, now that Mafia the Old Country is wrapping up. It's too early to say what the next Mafia game after Mafia the Old Country will be.
Right.
It really depends on how
Michael
well
Jackson.
Mafia the Old Country sells.
Smooth Criminal.
2K Games, the publisher, is waiting on standby to see how well Mafia the Old Country does. If the game sells like hotcakes, then 2K Games can easily convince Take-Two Interactive to give Hangar 13 games a much larger budget like Mafia 3. If that's the case, then we could definitely see Mafia 4 take place in Los Andes, a fictional Vegas-like city that was revealed in Mafia Definitive Edition in a cigarette card collectible. On the other hand, if Mafia the Old Country doesn't sell extremely well, then we could perhaps see a less ambitious game. We could see another prequel game, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. One great idea for a prequel game is playing as a young Ennio Salieri in Lost Heaven, working for Don Felice Papone, alongside a young Marco Morello. Another great idea is playing as a young Carlo Falcone in Empire Bay, working for Don Tommaso Moretti, and taking part in the legendary Vinci Moretti War. And another prequel game idea is playing as a young Sal Marcano in New Bordeaux, working for Don Giuseppe Carlillo, and betraying his own father, Valerio Marcano. I guess we'll have to wait until August 8th, 2025, when Mafia the Old Country releases to see how well it does. The future of the Mafia franchise...
Hold on, is that official? Hold on, where did he get that? Because that looks like it's on Steam. Give me like 5 seconds. Hurry up. Please, thank you. Let me just check my wish list really quick. That is my birthday. You know what? That's going to be the next video. I need to see why this guy thinks it's going to be released in August. In the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching. Original video will always be linked in the description below. Thank you so much. Be sure to subscribe because you watched the whole thing, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.